YouTube, hey, it's Casey Dimon here at TaxSaleAcademy.com, and thank you so much for joining me as I record this episode for the Tax Sale Podcast. Of course, if you enjoy podcasts, be sure to find us on your favorite podcasting platform, and you can do that by going to TaxSalePodcast.com. That's TaxSalePodcast.com, and I'll put a link to that right below this video. So let's go ahead and record the audio portion of the Tax Sale Podcast. Welcome to the Tax Sale Podcast, where tax sale investing is made easy. I'm Casey Dimon, a tax sale veteran, expert, and trainer, author of the Tax Sale Playbook, founder of the Tax Sale Academy, and your host right here on the Tax Sale Podcast. Thank you so much for joining me on today's podcast, and as always, at the conclusion of this podcast, if you're looking to learn more about investing in tax-defaulted real estate, head to TaxSaleAcademy.com. Again, the website is TaxSaleAcademy.com. Today we're discussing my primary suggestions for new tax sale investors when it comes to choosing the specific property types of their first few investments. The problem is that many new investors get these grand visions in their heads. They see these TV shows, the huge projects, the deals that might take years but make millions of dollars. They see all of the complicated stuff. One of my favorite tips for new tax sale investors is the KISS method. It's an acronym. Keep it simple, stupid. While that might sound a little bit harsh or a little aggressive, it is the truth. Keep it simple. The simpler, the better for your first few investments. The deal is that yes, you can make lots and lots of money with the extremely difficult transactions. Sure, I've gutted and remodeled homes. I've subdivided properties. I've bought unusual commercial properties. I've bought unfinished construction properties. And I've even flipped entire subdivisions, all from tax sale auctions. But guess what? They also required years and years and years of experience that I had gained over time, over the course of my real estate investment career. I don't just jump into those difficult projects right off the bat. These are the projects that probably would have bankrupted me if I tried them early in my career. These are the projects that you will absolutely see from time to time, and they might even pique your curiosity. To just avoid those projects. Now, as a beginner, those definitely are not the properties for you. The properties for you should absolutely be the simple properties, the simple ones, right? The easy ones. So I wanted to provide my suggestions on what to look for and what to avoid when it comes to your first few investments and how to get your hands on one of the simpler projects. So first off, I'm going to talk about two different property types that I highly recommend for beginners. The first one is a standard size, standard shape, standard everything vacant lot in an area with some new construction. I know, guys, it is not exciting, right? It's not exciting whatsoever. I get it. It's not exciting, but it's simple. It just doesn't get much more simple than that. And for the first half of my career, 99% of every single one of my investments was a standard, simple, plain Jane vacant lot. And even to this day, vacant lots continue to be one of the drivers in my business. They're not exciting. They're not, in quote, sexy, but they work time and time again. They work in just about every area, and truthfully, you can make them work in every single market condition if you buy them right. The deal is that they're generally very, very easy. They're simple, right? There is no remodel to worry about, no structure to worry about. You don't have to deal with occupants, no real issues after you completed the property due diligence. You just need to make sure that the diligence that you complete is going to be very, very thorough. You can't just assume because it's vacant land and it's easy, you're just buying something, you're selling it. There's a lot of stuff you have to look into. Now, this is not a lesson on diligence, but just understand that your diligence must be very, very thorough, even for these simple, plain Jane vacant lots. And also in this diligence, you have to be able to ensure that you'll be able to find a buyer in the area that you're buying in, right? You want to make sure that you choose an area that has some sort of new construction activity. Now, whether that means that there's actual homes coming out of the ground right this very second, or perhaps they're homes that have been completed in there in the past 2 or 3 years. Whatever you do, don't buy a vacant lot in the middle of a bunch of homes that were built in the 1920s. That's the last place somebody that wants a vacant lot is going to look for one. So make sure there's some sort of new construction activity. Just remember that builders don't have the time, or they won't put forth the effort to actually go to tax sales to buy properties to build on. And likewise, most consumers who buy with plans to either build right now or at some point in the near future, they probably don't even know about tax sales. So you can get some vacant lots in the right area. You can definitely see success rather easy, comparatively speaking, to the other options that are available. The second type of property that I recommend for beginners is the home that is near move-in ready. Well, the truth is, you won't find any homes at tax sales that are move-in ready. But for your first few investments, you should only go after the home that requires minimal work. If you can get by with just like carpet and paint, that is going to be absolutely wonderful. What you don't want to get into is a project that is going to require you to rip out all the walls, rebuild the foundations, and all sorts of other major repairs that require huge budgets and lengthy time commitments and leave open the possibility to find all sorts of other hidden problems. All these things take a lot of experience, a lot of effort to be able to work through, and you don't want to have to go through all these issues on your very first few properties. Now, the property that's in fair or even good condition that you won't have to do quite as much to is going to sell for much more money, obviously, right? Than the properties that have to be completely gutted. But at the end of the day, if you can get in, get out, and make some money in a safe manner, that's what your first few properties should be all about. All right, so vacant lots and easy homes. Those are going to be your targeted property types. Beyond that, I'm going to give you 8 additional tips on specifically what to avoid for your first few deals. Eventually, you might want to ignore these tips, and when you ignore these tips, you're going to go into riskier investments. But again, once you have that experience and maybe a larger budget and stuff like that, you'll be better prepared for it. But for your first few investments, here are my suggestions on the things to avoid. The first one is undeveloped areas. Make sure that the lots that you buy have some new construction somewhere nearby, or you're never going to be able to sell those lots. You have to sit on them forever. Don't also consider purchasing irregular shaped or sized lots. Some neighborhoods have leftover parcels that are too small or shaped in a way where they can't be built on. Go after that normal stuff. Don't consider purchasing low lots. Don't chance it that a lot can just have fill dirt brought in and it's buildable. Oftentimes, especially if it's available at tax sales, it's low and it can't be sold for a reason, and it goes to a tax sale for a reason. So don't buy those types of properties. Another one that you don't want to deal with on your first few homes, at least, is the occupied properties. It can be easy dealing with tenants, but can also be very, very difficult. And you'll eventually have to, but you don't want to force yourself to do it before you're ready to. Another one to avoid are your homes in disrepair, and we've already addressed this, but I don't want you to bite off more than you can chew. Another one are the homes that have city or county issues. Dealing with a property is one thing. Dealing with a city is another. So avoid the homes that have condemnation or other pending actions against them. Another suggestion is to not invest in bad areas. Sure, you can make money there, and if you want to go risky later on in your career, that's great. But if you're worried about your safety or your investment being vandalized, it's not wise to invest in those areas for your first few transactions, because you're going to be a nervous wreck all the time. And the last one that I always suggest is, what is your gut telling you, right? If you see something and you think in the back of your head this could be an issue, that's a sign you need to go ahead and move on to something else. Sure, you're definitely going to have butterflies, but if your gut says no, then go ahead and pass on it. So there you have it, guys. My 2 primary suggested property types for beginners are your vacant lots and the simple, easy homes. Beyond that, you need to stay away from the undeveloped areas, the irregular lots, low lots, occupied homes, homes in disrepair, county issues, bad areas, and then, of course, always listen to your gut. Guys, that's it for today's podcast. If you'd like to learn more about investing in tax-defaulted real estate, including trainings on how you can choose the best properties for your specific investment objectives, especially those very crucial first few properties, head on over to TaxSaleAcademy.com. Again, that's TaxSaleAcademy.com. Guys, before I sign off, I'd like to ask for one quick favor. We provide lots and lots of free training through a variety of different resources, and wherever you're watching this from right now or listening to this from, if you don't mind, go ahead and click on that like button or subscribe to us and just give us some positive feedback and some reinforcement so we can continue to provide these trainings for you absolutely free. That way you're able to get your tax sale career started on the right foot. Guys, that's it for today. Have a wonderful day. Make it a successful one, and take care. Bye-bye.